Last year we predicted a slow trend in the market consolidation within the payment industry. We have seen some bigger deals, especially in the US, with Heartland Global Payments, thesis transfers, but it's all in the more traditional space. On the e-commerce space that didn't happen a lot. On the traditional side as well, we had Concardis being taken over by private equity at the end of 16. So e-commerce was slow. Traditional, there was some consolidation in the market going on. What we will see for 17 onwards is that we expect more deals, even maybe some IPOs or some really big structured deals within those markets. And next to that, another area is that we will see that the challenge for all the small European PSPs who mainly act domestic are gonna have more pressure on their margins and their business, and also on the regulators, because it's not easy and it's not a very cheap thing to do to operate a payment company. Especially on the security and compliance side. So maybe during the course of 17 and 18 there will be a shakeout of the smaller ones where only the mid-size and the bigger ones will survive. If you look at the margins within the industry and what's difficult for the smaller ones, first of all, they are very price competitive, the smaller ones in the market right now. Mostly they are cheaper in handling payments than the big guys. And that only in one domestic market, so you have very small margins, but you have your capital requirements from the regulators. You have your cybersecurity, which you have to invest more and more to be secure. And at last, you have your complete compliance auditing part, which is necessary to operate a decent payment company. So the combination of those will make the entry barrier, but also the barrier to survive within this industry, higher than it was the years before. What we have seen and already predicted in early 16, was that there wouldn't be a lot of changes within the legislation, and especially PSD2, because it's an ongoing process to 2018, when probably all the directives really become law in the member countries of the European Union. And what we have seen that the area of focus during 16 and also 17 will be for the payment industry most interesting on two subjects, which is at first access to account. Access to account is something which is a major part of PSD2 and is within the whole space. But access to account also means that you need to create access to those accounts. Now, you have in the UK the Open Banking Association, in which they try to define one standard in having access to all the banks. But in certain other member countries, there's still an ongoing discussion if they would have a bank-by-bank integration. And if you have, for instance, in Germany, integration to 1,500 different banks, to 1,500 APIs, you do have the access to account, but it's not a workable solution. So what we will see, what will be the main interest in this area of access to account, is how easy is going to be the integration, or what players are going to move up into the market to create single platforms for integration, because only with a limited amount of integrations, access to account would be a workable solution for the near future. The other part of it is the enhanced security, mainly based on double authentication. It's necessary if you combine it with access to account, because if you have access to somebody's bank account, double authentication is the least security you have, because it's your personal wealth which is on that account, so you better take it secure. But the major part of the discussion there is going around credit card transactions, which are in some states within the European Union not even considered a payment transaction, because you don't have access to a bank account, which is Holland is one of them. And also discussions going on if it's a payment transaction, because you cannot enter the account, and on the other hand, is the double authentication not already in place for card transactions? Because you have the first authentication when you fill in the details and the CSV codes. But the second one could be the chargeback, which you at least, if you don't agree with the transaction, you have afterwards an authentication right to refuse the transaction and to undo it. So there's a lot going around there because it would have a major impact on card transactions. But I'm pretty positive we'll find a way around card transactions within the enhanced security to do so. And the other subject which is in place there is the risk-based approach. So not double authentication for all card payments, but only if it goes above a certain amount, if it's a first-time user, if it is from a certain country, if it's a certain industry. So there are a lot of parameters you could also use to define a risk-based approach. But for payments, I would say, especially the card payments, that double authentication is already in place, so it should be accepted.